Welcome to another edition of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This show was originally created from the more than 300 quotes I had created for the contents of my book. I got together my brother Naheem, Otis, my little sister Danny, Gilda, and Chris, and Dr. Breakthrough. And believe it or not, this quote is going to, you guys may get confused because this quote is by Maya Angelou. But when we look at Anne Marie, you may think Maya came back. But anyway, let's go back to it. So after studying human behavior, I was always curious. Were these quotes were just conversations to be had, or were there words you just laid there on the page? Every single Sunday, we get together at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and one of us brings a quote, and this quote was brought to us by our voice today, Mr. Otis Spencer. Based on our interpretation and perspectives, we share our feelings on the quote. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the show over to the voice of our show, Mr. Otis Spencer. Will you please give us the quote for today?
Grand Rising, everyone. Happy Sunday. Today's quote: "Nothing can dim the light which shines within."
All right. You know something? This quote by Maya Angelou, and like I said, I wonder what Maya Angelou would say looking at today and then talk about this quote and how it applies to both me and you. But we're going to go ahead and turn up the heat because we're going to turn the quote over to Dr. Breakthrough.
Hey, nothing can dim the light that shines from within. What I've committed my life to is igniting and reigniting a passion in people for life, for love, for the Lord, and for business. And so there's always that internal flame that God has put on the inside. And true to me, the quote would say that can never, ever be put out. So, matter of fact, never even dimmed. And there may be times when people not understanding the fullness of what they have. And so that's the power of having friends, I believe, the power of being surrounded with other people that see within us sometimes all of what we don't see within ourselves. I didn't realize I had such a light within me, and there was other people that saw that and that would attribute and say to me, "Hey, let your light shine." I'm like, I'm not sure what light you're talking about. But you know what? I didn't want to let them down, people that I respected. And so I gave things a shot, acting as if I really had this flame that they thought that they saw that I didn't see. And I was shocked. I was shocked when they were right. And after enough times of that, I was like, you know what? Wow. I guess I really do. Maybe that's the issue. And so I think there is this quote to me is saying there's something powerful in each and every one of us, that God gives us a light and that we're not to dim that light. And sometimes we're unaware of the power of that light. Sometimes we're unaware of it, but once we become aware, watch out, here we shine. And so as we used to say as kids, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. So shine today, my friend, shine.
All right. It's amazing how other people see your light before you do. We walk around with a little bit of self-doubt, trying to find questions, trying to find answers to questions that we're not sure just how to phrase it, but other people. And then when that one moment, when that light goes off, you find out that just like this show, we got to get the world ready for you. And that's the reason why we let off with Dr. Breakthrough. Maya Angelou has given us so much knowledge, and I always say discipline leaves evidence. And so with that said, we have a young lady over here, Anne Marie Maloney, that when you talk about discipline leaves evidence, her evidence shines through every single young person that comes through. And we're blessed to have an educator on our show along to complement Dr. Breakthrough. So Anne Marie, how does this quote land on you?
Well, Grand Rising, everybody. Thank you for the question and thank you for the spiritual foundation. We always start with God, and I love that. I love that. I love that. I think about what in the world is light. Right. I need to, my brain, the way it works, it needs to have something concrete. Can I define it? And I think about light as frequency, as energy, or so I'm told. And I transfer that information in terms of light is love, light is compassion, light is truth. It's your inner wisdom, especially since Maya Angelou, come on now, Maya Angelou brought the quote, right? In terms of wisdom. I believe that everybody has light inside of themselves because, as Dr. Breakthrough mentioned, God implants it at our birth. There are people, though, who try to dim your light. And sometimes the people are external, but sometimes it's internal. What I mean by that is there are people who will put you down, who will manipulate you, who will hurt you intentionally. But also, we can hurt ourselves when we think small and we lessen our value and we don't know our worth. And so we cover up, we hide our light for fear of, primarily for fear of rejection, for fear somebody's going to judge us and walk away from us. So, our challenge in this life that we live on earth is not to dim our light, but first to find it and to know what it is, and then to be able to emerge from all of the naysayers in our life. I think of how do you emerge? How do you find your light? Sometimes you go through meditation. Sometimes you go through prayer. You use these as tools to find your way back. And there's an inner voice that speaks to your inside. We need to learn how to listen to that inner voice. Something I want our listeners, Kevin, to understand, and that is we should leave people better after they've met us, after they've encountered us, because your light could be the way somebody else sees what path they can go, the way somebody else sees that there is still hope in the day. So leave someone better than how you left them. I believe that's how we physically, how we make the planet better, how we make one another better. And that's from the internal, letting the light flow externally. But in wrapping up, I would say internally, we also need to be bold and courageous and authentic in the light of who we are. And we stand in it. When you know that you are a child of God and you walk this earth, walk with that level of confidence and surround yourself with people who remind you of your light. And if you don't have anybody remind you, remind yourself. That's how that quote fell on me. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Anne-Marie. My grandfather used to tell me a story. I don't know where it originated from, but he said that he talked about a man that every single day got up and he prayed and he did everything right and whatever. He kept waiting for someone to come and save him. And every single day he walked up in the same situation every single day, repeating the same bad habits and whatever, and never understood until Judgment Day. And when he asked what he had done wrong, and the question was turned back on him. He goes, when you look in the mirror, when you ask who's going to come and save you, he says, no one. He said, the only person that can save you is that person looking back at you. And it's you. And when how both you and Stan so eloquently spoke of coming true to your faith, you got to believe. Like this, the story sprinkles the true spirit of Christmas. You're always going to have those dream stealers, those people that are going to be in your life that will hug and kiss you and pick your pocket at the same time, and then say it's all your fault that you missed it. You let me do it. All right, and that is true. So with that said, I'm going to go over to my brother Christopher James. I want to thank you, and I do this every single week. Thank you for the service and all that you bring to this, because the sacrifice that you have made and those that made before us allowed us to have this platform that we share with each and every one of you. So my hat's off to you, Mr. Christopher James, and thank you for your service. But before you go on, I'm going to ask Otis, the voice of our show, and the young man that brought Maya Angelou the quote for us today, to repeat this quote one more time for those of us that just logged in or logged on. Otis, can you deliver the quote?
Nothing can dim the light which shines from within.
All right. Just imagine that voice in in a suit from Star Wars. Nothing can dim the light, Luke. The light that shines through. All right, Christopher, how's this quote land on you?
Grand Rising, everyone. Thank you again, Kevin. God, when I think of this quote and the light from within, I see it as not so much. Well, but I see it as a purpose. I see it as your particular offering to the world. In other words, you're that little light that's going to shine and either be a beacon or be just a guide post or guide light to everyone else around you. But it's a little deeper than that. It's a purpose. It's seeing what you have to offer to the world and never losing that. In other words, getting that glimpse of that purpose and holding on to it forever. And there's this weird story. I mentioned it when I was in school years ago, but long ago, growing up, and I wear this as a badge, okay? My mother, single mother, raising 8 kids, we were on welfare, okay? And we had social workers come by and basically check on us and provide benefits and the like. There was one social worker. This is back in Oakland. God, it was like in the mid 60s. Weird side note, Angelou, the famous jazz singer, now passed away, was a social worker in San Francisco at the same time that this social worker was working with us in Oakland. Now, I don't remember his name. All I can remember is Stewart, but my grandmother always referred to him as, well, I don't want to say what she called him because of Dr. Breakthrough being here, but it was like D. Stewart, okay? And you can fill in the rest yourself. But that was the only name I can remember was Stewart. But anyway, he would, whenever he came by for family visits, you know how you would tousle a kid's hair? Well, I had this big old head full of little peasy BBs all over it. So he really couldn't tousle my hair or tousle my hair. He would just shake my head like a big old rattle, big old. Anyway, I decided back then that I'd be a social worker because I so much respected Mr. Stewart, or whatever his name was, Stewart. But the thing was, a lot of other things happened in my life. I joined the Navy. Before that, I was into fashion design. Don't tell anybody. I joined the Navy. I went through a great career in the Navy. I left the Navy, worked as a corrections officer, worked as an athletic trainer, worked as a couple other positions. And I finally got back to social work. And the funny thing was, of all the other careers I had, social work was the one job that I felt completed in. I mean, I actually felt good going to work and felt bad coming home, saying, I could have stuck around a few hours longer, or maybe that guy that I spoke with today, I can help him out by, doing some after hours research, whatever. But that was the only job that I felt totally complete and totally myself. In other words, from a 6-year-old kid, an idea that this is where I want to go, this is where my light should be shining, and all the other diversions that happened along the way, I was able to come back and say, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to do. This is where my light is indicating. This is me. And so, what's that, 55 years, maybe even longer, I finally got it on back to where my initial calling was. And my light finally shone through all the other. Now, I'm not looking back at my life and saying, oh, no, it was a disaster. I had a great life. I loved the things that I did. But getting to the end and working in social work, simply indicated to me that this is where I was supposed to be. This is my spot in life. This is where my light shines the best. And that's about it.
You know something, it's amazing. We all wake up with that shine. We're born with that shine, and we're constantly walking through our life, feeding our distractions. We're constantly walking through life, trying to find answers to questions, and we're constantly surrounding ourselves with people that have no direction. But when that you see that light and you understand your shine, then you make decisions that are best for you. And what's best for you surrounds, and it has an effect on everyone around you. I am so glad you found your shine, my brother. I am so glad.
Hey,
Now,
one quick thing before Gilly hits me. She's going to hit me too, because I'm going to forget this. There are two other major things that happened in my life just recently. Talk about distraction.
This is a 35-minute show.
I'll keep it short. The first one is my grandson, after 53 years, decided to walk in my exact footsteps. He what?
What did they kick you about that?
Because you always tell me don't forget. He's in boot camp right now. He's in Navy boot camp. He chose submarines as did his grandpa, and he's going to be working in the advanced electronics field, working with computers, just like his granddad. 53 years later, he graduates the 30th of October, and I couldn't be prouder. Okay, well, I say that when shortly after that, the results of the SAG-AFTRA elections, and Naheem, I sure hope you voted.
All the time, brother.
Thank you, my brother. Gilda and I were both voted to the Screen Actors Guild local New England board, and I'm thinking it's the first time a black couple ever served on the board together.
Yep.
So thank you.
And Christopher, yes, I was gonna say you're welcome. From Otis and I, you're welcome.
You got it.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
They're both
That's it.
delegates
My life
going
is
to the
boring after
convention.
that.
All right. Well, let's get the show back on track. Our youngest member of the family. We always say that, you heard the thing that says, I forget what it says, something is wasted on the youth. I don't believe that. It's because when this young lady speaks, we all listen. We all used to be in the place that you are right now. And a lot of us miss where we are, but we're happy to where we are right now, because you've got a lot in front of you in order to have the conversation we're having right now. But I'm curious. I don't even know if you were around when Maya Angelou was breathing the same air as me and you, but I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with the works of this great woman. So, nothing can dim the light which shines from within. Miss Danielle Chambers, Danny, to us, how does this quote land on you?
Hi everyone, it's so nice to be back. So this quote feels like a challenge, but it also feels like a reminder, because it just says that light is always there no matter what's going on. If there's chaos, there's confusion, the light can always be found. And that kind of reminds me of my journey moving to New York when I was 18 years old. I packed up my 2 suitcases, I moved into my dorm, and I put up my Dumbledore poster from Harry Potter. Even though I don't love Harry Potter, I really love the quote where it was just like, happiness can be found in the darkest of times, only remembers to turn on the light. So that kind of reminds me this parallel of like these two things. But I pretty much spent a lot of my 20s. I'm going towards the end of my 20s now, but I'm not sad. I'm very happy with life's journeys. Pretty much have been trying to figure out who I am. After I moved to college, I felt this strong sense that I've like had this identity crisis. But after doing a lot of digging and a lot of time thinking and a lot of time meditating, I realized I didn't really change. I just kind of some things just kind of shifted and the situations were different than before. So this kind of takes me back to my minor in college, which was physics. And it's funny that this quote was brought up because as I saw it this morning and I was like, wow, I was listening to this audiobook on the power, like the concept of power, but like not from the traditional sense of let's just like be the stronger or this, but the power over, right? And that's the ultimate power because if you can control yourself in all the situations, you are in the strongest position of power because you're not influenced by anything else. So this reminded me of thermodynamics because in the fact that energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed. So that means that our inner light, it never vanishes. It vanishes, it just transforms. So it's just in a different form, and that means that it changed back into whatever redirected, it can be manipulated pretty much. And then in the second law of thermodynamics, it says that it naturally moves towards the disorder unless we act with intention, pretty much, right? So in that way, when we choose to continue to direct our power into the things that are fueling us or trying to keep the, we channel that inner light, right? And the last thing I'll kind of say on this is I realized a lot of times that I've had issues or I felt like I was inadequate, I tried to dim my light. But there were people like Larnez, there are people like you guys that always who I was and didn't allow me to dim that light. And by surrounding yourself in community, surrounding yourself with people like and seeing that light in others because we all have this light. It's not, oh, I'm special. No, we're all special. We all have this light. The beautiful thing about it is that this quote says that we can all shine together. It says that we as a people, we can remove those clouds that are going on in the community that we feel. So it was just a very strong quote. The more that I like digged into it, the more I was seeing, and the more it just reminds me that there's nothing really different between all of us. We're just one light, and we're all just transforming, and we're all evolving. And I just hope that, and not hope, I'm going to take that forward into this week as I serve my students and I serve my clients in my business. So thank you guys for the space again.
And thank you for that share, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to welcome you again to the show. This was Miss Danielle Chambers, better known to us as Danny, and this was her head talk. All right, so welcome. That was powerful. Curtis, hey, I'm sorry, man. You got to follow that. I'm going to ask Otis to deliver this quote one more time for you to take a couple of deep breaths in, and then we're going to see how this quote fell on you. Otis?
Okay. For you, Curtis. Nothing can dim the light which shines from within.
Boy, you thought it was hard to follow Larnez. Good luck, Curtis.
So happy Sunday to all. I'm glad to be back with you. I was having a few technical difficulties this morning, but I am with you. So I am not the best of actually getting to church, but one of the things that I do remember was this song that this little light of mine, I'm going to make it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to make it shine. And that's what was the first thing that popped into my head about how I have this inner glow. Uh, Part of it is these deep dreams, part of it is this deep ideas that you want to share with the world. And so my background this morning is a library because that's all the stuff that's buried deep within me. I pull off a book, I open it up, I see what it is, and then I let that out to all the other people around me. One of the things I like to do whenever I encounter people is to try to find that little nugget from what they say. Are you having a bad day? Can I do anything to help you? Because the folks that are the baristas or the checkout people or the person on the phone that's helping you return a package or get a package, people don't ever tell them or often don't say thank you and I see you and I appreciate what you're doing. And I that's what this group does for me. They all reflect back that really positive energy every Sunday. And no, I cannot do the thermodynamics that Danny did because that I never did physics. But what it is the helping us all get out of our way. So we have this really bright light inside, but we inadvertently dim it because of fear. And we need to take that next step forward. Whether that next step is I'm launching a product, I have this business idea, I want to talk to my friends, I want to be on a podcast. I want to make a difference in the world. And the difference is sometimes directly interfacing with students and young folks and giving them an idea of what they can do. And other times it's just keeping yourself going on a day when you're not having the best day. I talk about inside time and outside time. So inside time is, oh my God, I gotta get this done. I'm worried. I'm worried. I haven't talked to that person in this time. Outside time is they saw me a month ago and they're like, wow, you're back. This is great. I am so happy that you reached out to me. I didn't know. Oh, you're doing that and you're doing this, And so I use that as a way of calming my spirit. I'm not sure if that fits exactly with the Dr. Breakthrough thing, but having the idea that it is going to happen because I keep pushing forward every single day to make a difference in this world. And I know that with the help of God and with the help of all you folks here and the people I encounter, that I will, in fact, fulfill the purpose that I have been given to do, even if I don't know exactly what that is right to now today. So this is how the quote landed on me.
All right, all right. And you said something that is very important, and it's amazing because before we started the show, Naheem and I had a conversation similar to this. I've always said to authors, why do you write a book? And the reason why every author writes a book is because they believe they have a story that needs to be told that will light up the room for at least one person. And that's something, if we look back and think about the first book that we ever read and ask ourselves why we read that book was the first door that opened up to where that light shined on you. For most of us, I won't say all of us, all right, because there were magazines back in my day that some people read before they read a book. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. But I am going to go ahead and segue this over to Gilda. But I want to thank you. That picture of the library is probably going to be an endangered species because right now someone is trying to turn the light off in a room that's bright with knowledge, with history, with stories that needs to be told, with information that allows someone that is living in a situation to travel beyond their current circumstances and to dream. And that's the reason why we need those books. And I hope and pray that libraries don't become extinct or become a landing place for people that only see life and people from their point of view. So with that said, Gilda, James, all right, how does this quote land on you?
Grand Rising, everyone.
All right.
What I want to say is, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And from saying that, your inner light is strong. That's what I think about the whole situation. Your inner light is strong.
All right. And we know through the history of this little light of mine is someone looking in a dark place. And it's probably through our history of trying to be an optimist, thinking there's going to be a better place or whatever. And that's the reason why the Underground Railroad was created. There's a reason why many people sacrificed their lives in order for us to have these stories to be told. And it's the reason why Maya Angelou wrote the poem, Why Do the Jaybirds Sing? Is because of this light. And without the voices of people like Naheem, Otis, Curtis, James, both James, Dr. Breakthrough, Baby Girl Danny, and Anne-Marie, all right, this light would not get through without shows like this. And I just want to thank you for, one, your rendition of this little light of mine. It's beautiful. People were clapping hands, stomping feet. But now we're going to go through, and I'm going to tell you, this man walks into more dark rooms and brings a light than anyone I know. For a man that has his whole career walking to a room that already has no, and he's walked out and established himself walking around with a yes. Our personal thespian, okay, it's a star friend, good humanitarian, soul brother from another mother. All right, car aficionado. Look at those beautiful cars behind him. I want to see how this quote landed on my brother, our brother, Naheem Garcias. How's this quote land on you?
I thought you was talking about Otis. It sounded so good. I said, dang. Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. Light does not dim unless we smother it. We're taught to self-sabotage, to blow out our own light. Light is your passion, your reason for living. Light gives you purpose. Light travels at 1,120 feet per second. So that means every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you. And that's how that landed on me.
Right. All right. Put that to a beat. All right. So Otis, all right. The way a show normally goes, whoever brings a quote goes out first, but we opened it up with Dr. Breakthrough. And because you are the voice of our show, and this is not the first quote you ever brought to us by Maya Angelou, I want to know how this quote landed on you and why you brought it to us today. And don't say because I asked you.
Well, almost think of that light as your dream. You got to follow that dream. And sort of like Anne Marie, there are naysayers. And seeing when you're succeeding and you're getting ahead of them, they become jealous and try to hold you apart. And that's why you want to stand with like-minded people, because that dream, that light, when you're around like-minded people, can turn into a beacon. And that's how it landed on me.
Jordan, sweet, right. To the point. Yes, sir.
To the point. You know, to our listeners, I want you to dissect each and every share of every single individual, because I know that someone has said something that you can attach to you. All right. Open up that door, pull up the shade, realize and be honest with yourself. It is okay for you to be great, because God made you in the likeness of Him. All right. So, don't walk around with that cloud of doubt over your head. Don't walk around with your head pulled down. Stand up, pull your chest out, and whatever, and be as great as you can be. Because the light, if you're walking towards it, will shine on you. It's just a matter of when and if you're ready for it. So the way this quote landed on me, it speaks to my own personal truth. It speaks to my own inner essence. It speaks to my strength, speaks to my resilience. It speaks to the inner drive, that power within me to keep fighting the non-believers, to fight off the external circumstances that life brings to you that wants to turn off your light. To keep me away from negative influences and mentally bad choices and emotionally bad choices. I honor the power within me. I honor the power within all of you. I stand in the fire that brings the rain. I shine with your optimism. The power inside of each and every last one of you radiates between me. The one thing I always say, that when you're having a conversation, especially to have a conversation with yourself, remember this, the acronym and Dr. Breakthrough, I'm learning from you, J. The J stands for don't justify. All right. So in the event that there's a conversation with you and someone's pointing a finger at you and whatever, just sit there and listen. All right. The other thing, A, don't accuse. All right. Because sometimes your critic is not always wrong. D, don't defend a position that you don't have. And E, don't explain. Sometimes just listen to someone else and acknowledge what they say may be true about you, but listen to the inner you, because the conversation that you have is the only truth that you're ever going to know. All right. So let me take everything that I've learned from Dr. Breakthrough, Christopher and Gilda, Curtis, Naheem, Anne Marie, and the voice of our show. The light, when you're looking for the light, all right, the light is always shined on you. So Christopher, I'm going to segue a little bit. My freshman year at Central State University, they gave a freshman orientation. And part of that orientation, Dr. Thomas asked us all to light a candle and walk back to our dorm at the conclusion of the orientation. And they said, for those of you that will make it back to their room with the light, those are the people that were going to graduate from college. Now, no, you'll hear this in my speech. It says, I had nothing to go back to coming back from my neighborhood. I grew up in the hood. So that light was the only thing that was shining through. When I got into my dorm and opened the door, there was an upperclassman standing there waiting to blow my light out. And these are the exact words from me. And Dr. Breakthrough, please forgive me for what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it exactly how I said it. When he said he would start to blow out my light, I said, I just want to let you know ahead of time. When one light goes out, there will be two. And I still graduated. He never blew out my candle. I meant it. I was going to clock him and because that's it. And so whatever light you have, it shines on you. But remember, when you're looking for answers and you're looking for help, no one's going to be able to help you more than you help you. So hopefully we thank Maya Angelou for all the wisdom and the knowledge that you had left with us. We are blessed that many of us have got a chance to experience you firsthand. And for those of you that are new, pick up a book by Maya Angelou. There's a lot of wisdom in that. And if nothing else, reach out to all of us and find out what our first book was and read, and pick up that book and read that, because every book will have at least one thing in it that will change your life and give you light. All right. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank everyone for coming to the show. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're all about quotes, and how based on interpretation and perspectives. My grandfather always said, when you get to a point that you can help someone else out, he said, it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we do what?
We fade to black.
But make sure you come back.
All right. Until next week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to my family on the show. Love you all. All right. Till next time. Ciao.